Now look folks, we've known for a long time that a lot of new weapons are in the pipeline for BattleBit Remastered, 14 of them to be exact. Today, the BattleBit weaponry arsenal finally expanded, along with some extra content and quality of life improvements. So, g'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're going over BattleBit's new weapons and some of the other goodies that came alongside. So folks, the wait is finally over. The developers have finally quenched our thirst for new weapons, introducing the F2000 Assault Rifle and the G3 DMR. The F2000 will be unlocked at level 35, representing a new option that will be available to a lot of players in the community and will be a welcome addition to most people's armories. The G3, on the other hand, will be unlocked at level 90, representing a sort of a mid-game addition to your personal armory, and I will admit, it will feel like a reward worth waiting for. But for now, let's focus on the F2000. The F2000 enters the game as an extremely controllable, fast-firing weapon, and if I could catch myself comparing it to another weapon in the arsenal, it's very much a FAMAS that carries itself slightly better at range, but features a weaker damage output in CQC. And look, I'll be honest, when I first looked at the stats for the F2000, I was a tad worried I wasn't going to like the weapon. 23 maximum damage with an 850 rounds per minute fire rate, that doesn't exactly spell out the recipe for the best performing weapon in the game. But man, after getting my hands on it, it felt like I was wrong to judge too soon. This thing is an absolute fucking laser, a point-and-click adventure machine. Now, I will point out that the lower damage per bullet does mean that its magazine economy is pretty rough, and its less than ideal reload speed is something that you'll actually have to get pretty used to here because you can't equip a quick aim magazine on this weapon. But I also can't deny just how smooth this thing is to pick up. Even in medium range firefights with very little attachments on the gun, it felt just so accurate and so easy to just laser targets down with it. So I feel like this is going to be a weapon that a lot of people are going to get quite comfortable with. As a bit of a heads up everyone, I plan on doing a best setups video soon for some of the newer or recently revamped weapons in the arsenal, so if you're interested in that kind of video, make sure you get subscribed to the YouTube channel. Also, come over and follow us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/kamikaze78, which is linked at the top of the description down below. We stream there at least 3 times a week, playing a variety of games including BattleBit, and I must say that the vibes are immaculate. I hope to see you there. But keeping the ball rolling here for a second, once you drop a little bit more time into the game, you'll be treated to the G3 DMR, and man, does this thing have some hands on it. With a 37 maximum damage on a 500 rounds per minute fire rate, this is the second DMR to be added to the game with full auto functionality. And look, in fairness, I have yet to give the reworked MK14 EBR a lot of time in game, but the G3 feels like it gives the MK14 a serious run for its money. The 20 round mag on a 3 bullet to kill damage profile definitely gives the weapon some serious commanding power in CQC, which I admit feels a little weird to say when I'm talking about a DMR. While the damage may sound impressive, it does give the weapon the lowest damage per shot in the class of DMRs, which means it is going to feel lackluster in those longer range, single fire scenarios where DMRs like the M110 and the MK20 are more likely to excel. The G3, in my opinion at least, definitely feels like it's the best in class for the medium range, full auto style of engagements. And with that, I feel like I'm going to catch myself really enjoying the G3 in the future here. But that's not all folks. You may have noticed in the gameplay that we've got a new backdrop to test these new bad boys on. ZalfiBay, a new large scale map set in what feels like to me a coastal European setting. And I gotta say, I absolutely adore this map. I've primarily played it on Frontlines and Domination game modes so far, but man, I think this is one of the best playing urban maps that the developers have released so far. When I first jumped into it, it felt very much like, I guess you could call Hanan Resort for Battlefield 4. It had a very similar vibe and aesthetic to it, which, must be honest, made the map feel kind of nostalgic to me on first impression. So not only does the map look very different to the ones that we've gotten used to so far, but it flows and plays very well. There's ample cover in a lot of the hot spots around the map, and enough breaks in the line of sight that lets you move and score some really solid flanking here. Upon initial impressions, I have to say that the map felt like a home run to me, and if this is the degree of quality that we can expect from future maps, then consider my expectations appropriately set. And while yes, the quality of the map itself is partly to thank for that, I think it's also greatly helped by the fact that Velasquez, BattleBit's level designer, has started adding closed window shutters to many of the windows on buildings across all maps in the game. One of the biggest complaints I've heard from the player base of BattleBit is that on densely urban maps, it can feel somewhat impossible to move between positions because there are so many angles to consider at a time because of how many windows there are on buildings at a time. Any window could have a player in it, which, well, is simply impossible to account for in a game like this. But now, this small change has gone a long way to limiting the amount of angles you need to account for in your travels throughout BattleBit, which makes the maps feel so much more traversable as a result, and readable for that matter. These window shutters can be knocked out with a sledgehammer or by, destroying the walls around them with C4 or an RPG, but it takes that extra step to exploit those sightlines again, and it's a great step in the right direction for the game as it adds some much needed readability to the maps overall. The maps are still relatively chaotic in the world of first-person shooters, but this helps to limit that slightly, and I think it's for the better. So yeah, ZalfiBay is great, but also a lot of the other game's maps across the board play much better now as well. They also look much better now too. As we mentioned in our last video talking about the game's updates, work has gone into improving the environmental textures of all of the game's maps, and adding some much needed detail back into the game. It may be a low poly title, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be bland on the eyes, and the work that Velasquez has done to improve that visual fidelity is nuanced, but also noticeable. I can't say I expected BattleBit to get much in the way of visual improvements post-launch, but here we are, and I very much welcome it. Last couple of things I wanted to discuss here before we wrap up things today, folks, is the changes that were made to the AUG and the HK419 assault rifles. And well, let's just say that they both got buffed in a big way. Starting with the AUG, its rate of fire was increased from 500 rounds per minute to 600 rounds per minute. That's it. That was the only change, which, yep, represents a straight up DPS upgrade for this accurate beast. The AUG has always been the laser accurate, minimal damage entry to the AR category of BattleBit, and while it has always done that extremely well, it did feel a little niche at times. If it was caught by surprise, well, your enemy really had to be pants on head kind of stupid to lose out against it. And with the rate of fire increase, yeah, the AUG has had a new lease on life given to it. It's far from the meta. The very design of the weapon will never make it meta, but it's certainly more fun to use now, and a weapon that I'll be returning to very soon for a full-blown weapon review. The HK419, on the other hand, holy shit. It's like this thing was a Pokemon just waiting to hit its evolution, and it just did. Its rate of fire was increased from 660 rounds per minute to 825 rounds per minute, while also getting a reduction to its vertical recoil and an increase to the quick aim magazine size to 26. Now, yeah, to compensate, the horizontal recoil was also increased by a lot as well, which, in combination with the higher rate of fire, does make the weapon feel a lot more unruly by comparison to its previous form. It'll kick and scream like a toddler having a tantrum in a department store, but man, when you wrangle it down and put it into shape, it performs well. Scaringly so. I'm going to really enjoy using the HK419 in the future now, and given that I hadn't really unlocked anything for it since I last prestiged it, and therefore hadn't spent much time with the weapon, that's saying something. So yeah, overall guys, more exciting stuff is happening for BattleBit, and it's really good to see the developers maintaining this pace for the long run. There's obviously some very dodgy news around the Unity game engine at the moment, and I do want to discuss that in a video very, very soon as well, so stay tuned for that content, but the developers of BattleBit are maintaining a healthy pace and releasing quality content in a good amount of time, which is great to see. Given that we are starting to see new weapons come to the game, I've got a feeling that that pace of new weapons coming to the game is about to increase quite significantly. It seems like the developers are very happy with the base game weaponry balance now, to the point where they're willing to start adding new stuff, and that is an exciting prospect. So get ready guys, the game's arsenal, I feel, is about to expand exponentially. If you guys enjoyed today's video, a backhanding of the like button would go a long way to supporting the channel, and make sure you get subscribed for more future content on BattleBit Remastered and other first-person shooters in the future. It would be great to have your support here as we hurdle our way towards 60,000 subscribers. And as a reminder, check out my Twitch and my other social media links in the description down below. It'd be great to have you guys a part of the community there too. Once again guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care guys, have a good one.